My name is Justin.
And I'm Bree.
And this is the Better Together podcast. So I know what I want to talk about this week.
Okay.
But I feel like I monopolized the last podcast. So I feel like it's only right that I let you finally talk about the things that you brought to the table. But what you have to understand is that we're really building this up now. So I hope that you've brought something really good, because the people now are thinking like, oh man, she made a point last week to talk about this. They're giving this great introduction. What do you have?
Well, let's start off first with one of the most hilarious things from this week.
It's only been 2 days since we recorded our last podcast. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I know, but I didn't get to talk about it 2 days ago.
That's true.
So, Oliver has learned card games.
Yes.
And
Texas Hold'em, Blackjack. No, I'm just kidding.
We taught him Go Fish and then a version of Slapjack. Just to help with, various recognition things and blah, 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 blah.
Just as something to do to not watch television.
Yeah.
In the afternoon.
And that it is a great learning activity.
You're not wrong. But it's also just something to do.
He requested it.
Well, because he saw a deck of cards.
Yeah. He was like, I want to play cards. So I was like, all right, dude, we will play cards. Let's feed you lunch. And then before we go to nap, we will play cards and stimulate your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I taught him Go Fish. This kid. Okay, so as any typical 4-year-old would do, he enjoyed the game until someone had to give up a card from their hand.
And it wasn't like...
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. It was just he had to give up a card. He didn't want your cards.
Yeah.
And he didn't want you to take his cards. He's the only person to ever play Go Fish that said, I don't want you to take my cards, but I also don't want your cards. He really didn't understand.
He came to tears.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple times during this because he was like, no, I want you to have your cards and I want me to have mine. And we'll get more from the deck.
We really had to play a lot of Go Fish to break down the wall of being upset about playing Go Fish.
It's quite hilarious. If you have any small children around you, I highly recommend playing Go Fish.
Now, the sad thing is I've still not beat him at a hand of Go Fish.
Well, see, you've played him with me and
yes,
him
but
playing
still.
him. So.
But I can't beat him at anything.
Yeah, you're...
We play the Apple game. It's rare that I beat him on the Apple game. We play he wants to play the race car game,
yes,
which is the game of life. And I still can't hardly beat him at the game of life. And it's like beginner's luck.
Yeah, and bless his heart, he likes to play Yeti in the spaghetti, but he wants the Yeti to fall into the spaghetti.
Yeah, it's that's like a Jenga type game. Because I don't feel like that. I'd never heard of that before until somebody gave it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these noodles.
Yep.
And you have a Yeti you set on top of the noodles. You pull the noodles out, and whoever knocks the Yeti into the bowl is the one that loses.
Yeah.
But he wants to make the Yeti fall.
And he's like purposefully trying to touch the Yeti to move it to where it could fall in easier.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the only game he loses, but he doesn't know that he loses, even though we've tried to explain to him that you don't want it to fall in the spaghetti.
Yeah. Playing kids at an age where they don't truly have the ability to understand what you're talking about is pretty funny.
Yeah. So that's been something that's been hilarious. And then we played Slapjack, which it was just anything that matched, that touched, you slapped it, and then you pulled it away. That's how we did it. And God love his little heart, you're having to go so slow to do it. I'm like, okay, what does this match? And he'd get upset when I'm like, oh, look, it's 2 4s. I'm going to get it real slow and then get it. And he's like, no, I want it. I'm like, dude, then you should have got it. Like you knew. I know you know what 4s are.
I told you that they matched as I was going to slow motion hit it. Come on, man.
So, yeah, card games with 4-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
A blast. Absolutely a blast. Justin.
Yes.
You mentioned this on a drive the other day.
Oh.
You noticed people playing this. There's now a pickleball playground in Knoxville. Yep. They have, like, it's a thing.
A pickleball playground?
Yes, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a news article about it, but I won't go into all the details. But pickleball has recently exploded
Mm-hmm.
in our area, and
It's vertical. It exploded everywhere.
yeah, but it's now hit our area. Like, we had never heard of pickleball before, but our pastor had gone somewhere and they invited him to play, and him and his wife fell in love with it. They come back here talking about it. Next thing we know, a bunch of people here are playing it,
Yeah.
and they're setting up to do it at like family fun weekends and stuff.
I've still never played pickleball. I still almost don't really know what it is besides saying that it's like miniature tennis.
Yeah.
And in that case, why not just play tennis without slamming balls at each other? Like, it seems like you could just play doubles tennis just as easy as you're playing pickleball, because that's what it looked like last night.
Yeah.
Except you're just standing closer to each other.
Yeah, like it was half of a tennis court with a shorter
Yeah.
net. So
I've also never played tennis. That's because
Yeah.
I haven't been able to convince you to actually play tennis with me. But
well, so we've played badminton,
Badminton.
and we're not very good at that. I mean, it was fun, so
whoa,
maybe we
whoa,
will
whoa,
play.
Whoa.
We got better.
We're not very good at it.
Hey, just because I'm not the best server and you do a pretty decent serve, I got some good returns.
Yeah, and if you could actually hit it inside the lines of the court, maybe I could get some good returns. I was also playing against a tree.
And we're facing downhill, so
I
like you're
think I
facing
could-
uphill.
I think I could play badminton decently well.
Well, let's get tennis rackets and we'll put that to the test.
I said badminton.
I know, but tennis is basically the same thing.
No?
It's all basically the same.
Well, all I'm saying, my point
You're-
was I just don't want you putting me lowly on the badminton court when I know that I was better than you at badminton.
There's no one to confirm or deny that. So
I got a 4-year-old that I know will be on my side
no, I
9
don't.
times out of 10.
It all depends on how you word it, because you know him.
Well, I'll word it with a piece of candy in my hand. Like,
Then see, he's let y'all know he's not to be trusted. Oliver is easily bribed, so you just can't. You can't trust anything he says.
wow. Thanks for that. This is going to go out for like 10 people to hear, Bree. You can't be saying that.
Listen, any kid is easily bribed with candy.
Oh, you said you can't trust him.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant you
Yeah.
couldn't trust me.
No, you can't trust what
Wow.
the kid said,
Oh, yeah.
because candy
He's a kid.
bribery.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's fine. You can talk about him.
Your words fairly trustworthy.
So a pickleball playground, though,
Yep.
like that makes me think that,
There's gonna be more stuff.
well, yeah, like it's like here, we have a playground and we put a pickleball court close to it, so that way both the kids and the adults have something
Nope.
to do.
It's actually gonna be more of like a clubhouse, like club type situation, because you'll have to pay a membership
Oh,
after
wow.
some point. I think it's the end of the through the end of this month. It's free to play and whatnot, but
Until they get
after
you.
that, then you have to pay a membership fee.
Well, then in that case, we live closer to the place we drove by last night, and it just looks like it's free open courts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why would
This
you?
is 7 indoor and 16 outdoor pickleball courts, 1 indoor and 4 outdoor tennis courts. It is now the largest pickleball facility in our state.
Yay. Like, I feel like this is one of those things, though, because, like, it's a trend.
Yeah.
And so, like, sure, people are playing pickleball, and, like, more people played pickleball than ever this year, maybe. But is it going to last? Are people going to continue to play pickleball? Or, like, and that's how things are always late to the party, though, is because now you have the city is going to build this court and put all kind, like, who knows how much money, especially because then it's government money. So it's even more money than if you tried to build that many courts on your own.
Yeah.
They're going to upcharge them. And so you just look at that, though, and you're like, we spent all this money for a fad that actually I haven't heard that much about recently.
Yeah. I mean, it's died down a little bit. There was a lot of talk about it.
I mean, it was like every massive YouTube channel made something about pickleball and all that stuff. But it's just like everything else. It comes and goes. So it's just funny, though, to watch like the city try to play catch up to these trends.
Do you know that they're going to have a team of 5 professionals that are going to offer lessons and clinics to teach the people in the area how to play?
No, but that's...
I mean, hey.
You can be a professional at anything in 2023.
Oh, so the cost of the lessons is based on your membership status.
Oh.
Yeah. And then it could be $15 or it could be $35 per clinic.
Well, I wonder how much the different statuses are.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through to try to...
That's the issue with certain things like this is you need low barrier to entry. And so that's why people, like one, I feel like tennis, you might have to be a little bit more athletic to play tennis. So pickleball was nice because the athletic level is a little bit down because you're on a smaller court and things like that. And then 2, it was just you had to have a couple of fairly simple paddles and like a very simple ball. So like you could probably been in that whole deal, you know, for $30 or something, right? $30-$50. And then you're going and playing on free courts. Okay. That's why, like, but now you're making it almost like a golf thing where like golf is not attainable to the average person. Golf is a very expensive hobby, right? Like we went and played disc golf with some people because there's free courses all around us to play disc golf. I wouldn't have ever played disc golf if it was like you have to join this club and you have to pay to go pay a round. Like that's just silly.
So memberships are $35 for individuals and $55 for families, along with annual fee options.
Okay, so what you're saying then is that the lessons are cheaper if you're a member.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was almost going to be levels of membership.
Well, I mean, that's how it read in the beginning.
But that makes sense. Your
there's
membership
also a joint
status.
membership for pickleball and tennis that's $55 a month.
Wow.
Oh, okay. And then there's the Fanatic membership for $149 a month.
So there are differences.
Yeah. That includes a ton of perks like free court fees, discounts, and buddy passes. And then the tennis one has its own table tennis. Has its own membership of $15 a month.
I just have a hard time spending money. Like any recreation you're going to do costs money. We've had our times in the past. We've searched the world.
Yes.
And we couldn't fill us. And we've spent a lot of time searching through different recreational activities. And it doesn't matter what kind of recreation you want to do.
Yep.
It's going to cost you money to some extent.
Yes.
Right? Because you're going to want gear. You're going to want this. You're going to want that. I'm very cheap.
Yeah.
And so this whole idea of like paying more money every month to do recreation just blows my mind. I just couldn't do it.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that other people shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do and spend your time with, like that's fine. But it does just make me laugh to think like, my gosh, $150 a month for pickleball.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, people are paying a lot more to play golf, you know, a couple rounds a week. But still, like, that's not where I'm at, man.
Yeah. And we like to have our hobbies central around the seasons. So, yeah, they do have indoor and outdoor. But, like, in the fall and spring, we really enjoy being outside and hiking and doing stuff that, you know, is...
I'm not sure where you're trying to go.
It complements the weather. But I don't want to be stuck in one thing all year round.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be able to change with the seasons.
But we've never been good at that. The only thing that we've stuck with is our faith. And everything else, we just kind of circle through it because we get bored with activities.
Well, we get bored and like life happens. We've had injuries and such that have prevented doing various activities that we've wanted to do and tried.
The way to look at this is like we've talked about getting a camper before, right? And if you were to get a camper and have a payment, now you're paying, let's just say for easy numbers, like $150 a month, like that Fanatic membership, right?
Yeah.
Now, the crazy thing about that is at least you have something tangible parked in the driveway or you're storing it somewhere, but you're paying $150 a month. So it makes you want to use it.
Yeah.
Right? And then with a camper, it's a little bit more difficult, obviously, to use, but it would hurt for that 1 month that you're paying for it not to go use it somewhere and get your money out of it, get your money's worth, right? Imagine if you were paying for the pickleball thing
and you
didn't use it 1 month. You would be like, oh, man. You know, like, because you gotta think how busy you get like November, December.
Yeah.
Like, would you even go play?
Right?
And it's cold, and then you only have so many indoor. I don't know.
Yeah, and you have to reserve times and such.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's cool for people who want to do it.
Yeah.
It's a nice opportunity.
I just thought it was something very interesting.
It's a good way for the city to make some money.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. Like, hey, we're going to be able to make some money off of this deal.
Now, total different subject. I discussed this with you the other day because I came upon a picture of honey
Mm-hmm.
being purple
Yeah.
from this one area. Like, yes, we know there's like the dark golden honey and then the light one.
And the
There's
mangrove
even-
honey that we bought that's like black.
Yeah,
almost. It's
and
not
there's-
really, but it's dark as you can get.
And then there's some that are super like blonde, I guess is a good way to describe it.
Yeah. And we had that one that was white one time.
Yeah. But it also comes in green.
Hmm.
Yeah. And again, it's all just dependent on the flower that they're getting the pollen from, the plant, whatever it is. That's why our mangrove honey is so super dark
Yeah.
because of how the mangroves work.
Did you figure out like what plant caused the purple honey?
I did, but I don't have it listed with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't impactful enough to be like, oh, the blah, 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 something you recognize.
Yeah, no, it wasn't anything I recognized. It was just one plant that grows in this one area in South Carolina.
So what's crazy about honey, so like you could say we're honey connoisseurs.
Yeah. We enjoy our
enjoy
honey, and
honey.
we like to purchase honey when we're out and about and we see something interesting.
When we go to other states and things, you buy a little bit of honey. And it's crazy though, because you would think like honey's honey, right? Especially,
No.
well, if you've only ever like
Got the store-bought
got
honey.
store-bought honey, you know, you got your little teddy bear honey at the grocery store, most of those honeys are probably going to be pretty similar.
Yeah.
But if you start buying like honey that people are just farming
Yeah.
regularly,
Local to the area, small businesses type thing.
it's all different. And
Oh
it
my
has a
gosh.
completely different taste profile. And you'll find one that you're like, this is my preferred honey. For us, thankfully, the city that we live in, there's somebody that makes honey or makes honey. I don't know, sells honey.
Yeah.
And they we really like that specific one. Now we try all kinds of different ones. Like
Yeah.
if we saw the purple one somewhere, I'm not going to order it on the internet, but if I saw it for sale somewhere, I'd pick it up.
Yeah. We may end up somehow at some point in our life making a choice to stop there in that area of South Carolina because we like to travel and
Yeah.
we like to go around different places. But I will make a mental note, be like, we need to go get purple honey.
And if you remember too, like that's the thing that there's such a difference in honeys, and I don't know if you don't realize that, you need to go out and get some different honey. But we
Yes.
were at a like antique festival, and there was a place that was selling honey, and they were doing like samples of like the different honeys based on the different plant, because like
Yeah.
you've got clover honey, mangrove honey. Mangrove, obviously, you're going to be somewhere
Yeah.
near the ocean, but
And then there's wildflower and just all
any
different
plant
stuff.
that produces pollen, people are specific, and they'll have honeys from those specific things. It's just all about where they put the hive too.
Yeah.
So like, there's a larger concentration because you got to think if you get one that says like clover, wild clover honey or something like that. Well, there was also some other plants probably nearby,
Yeah.
but it's majority clover or it's majority mangrove or whatever.
Yeah. So,
There's even honey. Remember we watched that thing and they were doing it in the city.
oh yeah.
And so they have beehives in New York City on top of buildings. And so like they have honey that they sell by the borough. So like you can buy different boroughs like Brooklyn or whatever, honey from that borough of New York and it'll be different.
And again, what's so fantastic about honey is that not only will it have different color and taste based upon the location, but if you're in that area and you're buying the honey from that area, it's going to help you with allergies.
Oh yeah.
Like, we are firm believers of that because we've seen it in effect in our lives. And it just goes to show how intricate God is in all of his designs of us and everything around us.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. There's a lot of crazy stuff about bees. I mean, like the whole thing, like,
A bee's not supposed to be able to fly
well,
because
yeah,
its wings are so tiny and its body's so big.
that's true. I wasn't even going there, but that's, yeah.
I mean,
Well, I was just going to say, like, when you look at all the different stuff, because we've looked into bees and honey and stuff, and so, like, one, you can buy bees on the internet.
Yeah,
And they
and they'll
will
ship 'em right
they
to your house.
mail bees through the postal service to your house, which is crazy. And
they'll
then
do the same with ladybugs and all
I mean,
sorts
you
of insects.
basically nowadays you can have anything shipped
Yeah.
to your house on the internet. You can have a live snake shipped to your house. Just crazy.
Please no.
No, but I'm just saying it can happen.
Yeah.
But with the bees too, then like, you know, you have the different kinds of hives. You have the traditional hive, and then you have a new hive called the flow hive.
Yeah.
And literally, like, if you put all the stuff in there, and then it's basically got a key. And so the bees do all their honey production, and then you put this key in, and you turn it, and all of a sudden, all the honey flows just out of that hive, and you
And
can just
into your
hold
jar.
into your jar right there. It's crazy.
Yes.
Because normally, in order to get honey from bees' hives, you have to take out the No, I can't think of what they're called.
The little racks.
The racks, basically where they've built the honeycomb
Yeah.
in there. You have to pull those out, and then it's a big drum, basically, and you put those in this drum, and it spins them really fast, and it just throws the honey out of the hive, out of the combs, onto the sides of the drum, and then it just slowly goes down, and it all filters in through one valve, and you just fill up jars.
Yep.
But it literally just centrifugal force throws the honey out. It's just crazy how that whole thing works. But then we've also seen the videos of like people who have infestations.
Yeah, and then they hire a beekeeper to come in and remove that.
Yeah, but they'll sit there and watch. They'll watch all the bees, and like the bees are all moving, and they'll be watching that hive looking for the queen. And then all they do is capture the queen, put her in this little box that they can still have the scent come out of, and they just take that box and they go put it in like the bee trap.
Yep, and then they all
all the bees leave and will go down there into the thing.
Mm-hmm. It's the
crazy.
craziest thing.
But you do have to get rid of all the hive.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll come back. We actually had a yellow jacket problem
Oh my gosh.
right before our son's birthday party, and we were looking into how to get rid of them, which was a challenge. But a part of it was that you have to get rid of the whole hive.
Yep.
Otherwise, other yellow jackets, even if you killed
just
every
make a
yellow
new one.
jacket, well, but
They'll
come back to that old hive and reuse it. And it could be a completely different set of yellow jackets than the ones that were at your house. That was a weird story anyways. Because, it was annoying because it was leading right up to the party and we didn't know if we were going to be able to get rid of them. But what was weird was that these yellow jackets wouldn't touch us.
Yeah. None of us.
And so, normally yellow jackets are very temperamental, very quick to sting you. And these were definitely, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out, are these really yellow jackets?
Yeah, or is this some other sort of wasp? Like, what do we need to do to make sure that this thing is gone?
But it was like a confirmation of that Bible verse to me where it talks about how, they'll pick up poisonous snakes or they'll get bit by a snake and it won't harm them or they'll drink poison. It was like God's protection was on us on those yellow jackets because the dog would go outside and they would light the dog up.
Yes, poor girl. Oh
I
my
felt
gosh.
so bad.
They literally would attack her so hard they would get stuck in her fur. And as she's come back inside to get away from them, there's 5 or 6 stuck on her where they just dived. It was rough.
And then, but we could go out there,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't even mess with us. And you could spray them with the poison, you could spray them with the hose, and you're actively trying to get them, and they're not even trying to attack us.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
It was extremely weird, and I give all the glory to God.
Amen.
Because there's no way that should have happened.
No, we should have been ate up by some yellow jackets. In any other world, man, I got ate up real bad once though, and I think I've told you this story. But I remember being a kid, and my mom was getting her hair done.
I thought it was bees.
Well, it was.
got you.
I don't know. They're all the same.
Okay.
Yellow jackets, bees, wasps. I don't care. They sting you, and I don't want to deal with them. But whatever it was, so my mom's getting her hair done at this place, and they had kind of like railroad ties stacked up. And it's funny because they were like, "Now listen, you don't need to mess over there because there's bees." And we're like, "Okay," and we're kids, and so she had daughters, and so we're all out there, and I'm walking on them, and there's a hole in one, and I stepped in that hole, and it was, I don't even know, it's like Winnie the Pooh. You know what I mean? If you've ever seen Winnie the Pooh and the bees start coming after him, that's what happened to me. Getting ate alive by these bees to the point where I run in there, get the bees away from me, and they tell me to go to the bathroom to change out of my clothes to make sure that there were no bees in my clothes. Man, I was so freaked out, I locked the door. As I don't want these bees getting in here any way possible. I'm locking the door. They're not going to get me. It ate me up bad.
Well, so bad that they actually warned you if you got stung again soon that you would end up having a severe allergic reaction.
I could have a severe allergic reaction.
Yeah.
The doctor said when you have that kind of attack by bees, that then you could develop that reaction to where you might even need an EpiPen. They never prescribed me an EpiPen.
Yeah,
that was the logic in the 90s.
We've
I guess.
avoided being stung for him since.
Well, now I don't. I think it was back then.
Yeah.
Now, if I got stung, it wouldn't be a big deal. But back then, it is funny to think now. I guarantee you, they'd be like, "You need to buy this $400 EpiPen or whatever."
Now.
But back then, they're like, he could probably need an EpiPen, if he was to get stung, but it's worth the risk. Just don't worry about it. Okay, cool.
All right. if
Thanks,
you say
90s
so.
doctors. It's a different world.
Yes. Oh, just to think of the differences then and now, it's absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah.
One of the other things I was going to discuss were estate sales. I don't know if any of y'all have ever gone to an estate sale or ever looked into estate sales, but they are the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can find some amazing things now, and you have to be careful because there's some that you can go to and they know what they're like. They know their formula. They're going to go in that first day and that second day. They're going to have high prices.
Yeah.
They're going to price it just to see if anyone is going to be not smart enough to just buy it then because they want it or because they don't know better or whatever. But you wait until they have the half price day and then they do the 75% off. You can get some.
Or you wait until they're about
deals.
to close, and then they're just like making
Just
random
take it.
deals. I got your China set like that because I had to go help my parents load up a big grandfather clock that they had bought.
Mm-hmm.
And I show up, and she's like, all right, everything's this much off. And I'm like, I got to look around at least a little bit. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So I got a full set of like Linux stuff for like $20 or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So there's some great things that you can find. If there's any specific furniture or whatever that you're looking for and you don't want to pay full price or you want something that's got a little character, check out estate sales. All you have to do is search estate sales near me and then there's
It's estatesales.net.
I was going to say there's a specific website that shows all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go through and preview, look at all the pictures of what's for sale. It'll be the sales that are happening now, the sales that are happening in the future, and they'll just show you
And
kind
they
of.
take a picture of literally like everything that they've got.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some things that like you show up to this sale and you're like, I didn't see this online, but that's how I got your bird bath. It wasn't in the picture.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to go check out this estate sale today and just see what's up. Birthdays are coming up. Let's just see what I can find. And I walk in, I'm looking over this one area and I catch just a little sliver of that out of the corner of my eye. And I said, I got to go look. Oh, let's go. And me and the kid ran over there and checked it out. And I said, I'm buying this now.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way to find deals. It does feel weird though.
Yeah, because you're going through someone's belongings.
Most likely somebody's died.
Yeah.
And now you're buying this dead person stuff.
Mhm.
So as long as you don't think about it in the moment, it's normally not a big deal. But
Yeah.
it is kind of weird.
It's like the biggest, best yard sale.
And it's funny because it's funny because you expect it to be mostly old people in an estate sale, which isn't completely inaccurate.
Mhm.
But nowadays, like really, like it's people our age
Yeah.
and everything. Like there's just everybody just hitting up an estate sale on a Saturday, seeing if they can't get a good deal. And sometimes you can, but like you said, you got to be careful because sometimes they do just overprice things.
Yeah.
Otherwise
And
you have to
we've-
know what you're looking at, what it's worth.
there's certain, like, we know the people that host the sale, like, okay, we know this group does that. And then we just kind of wait to go to their sales until later. I mean, your mom loves to go to estate sales and she's hit them up almost all the time and finding amazing deals on things.
Yeah.
And she's got some really great presents from some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you want to save money or you just really like looking through thrift stores and stuff like that, this is another way to find some really interesting, unique things.
And you see some nice houses.
Yeah.
We've seen some really nice properties where we're like, wow, this is crazy nice.
Mm-hmm. I've enjoyed them. They're not as fun to go through in the summertime, though, because normally the house isn't running air conditioning because they have all the doors open where
Yeah.
everyone's literally just going in and out constantly. So I don't advise doing them in the summer unless you don't mind the heat. But
Mm-hmm.
that's my only caveat there.
Yeah.
I mean, we find better deals than on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that at estate sales.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep. And then the last thing
You just had a random list of stuff.
I do. Yeah.
See, this is just like what you should have done is just like we should have had a main topic.
Well, I figure you're going to have something. And
Well, we're already 30 minutes in.
I
I
know.
can't get deep into anything. But this is where we have a main topic, and then you just throw in some of your little stories every once in a while.
well, I've been saving all this up because you keep talking and you won't let me talk.
I've let you talk a whole lot today. We've just been
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes. But I've had to save all these little things because you monopolize
Wow.
our things most of the time. So I've just been storing this stuff up. The last thing I want to talk about is something that you had brought up that you wanted to discuss in one, like 3 episodes ago. You mentioned that you'd want to discuss this. Iced coffee.
Oh, yeah.
I really need some iced coffee after this, so that's why I figured I'd save it for my last topic. We have the world's easiest and extremely delicious iced coffee recipe.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, like if you were to go places and get iced coffee, I don't know what they do, but I know that most of the stuff that people are buying is like full of sugar and full of stuff like that. And, or like you think you just couldn't do it at home to where it would taste any good, but we've learned that is not the case.
Yeah. You can make an amazing iced coffee at home. And I do like to add a little bit of sugar in mine most of the time. So if I'm making it just for myself, I'll do it. But it's not anything to where I'll miss it. The key, though, in this is using whole milk.
We need to say the whole recipe.
Yes, I was going to, but I was going to
I'm just saying.
The
Just
key
go ahead and
is
get
whole
into it.
milk. So what you do is you brew some coffee twice as strong as you would normally do it. So if you fill up your water up to the 4 line, then you do 8 scoops of coffee. All right. You brew it. You pour it over a glass that has ice to the very tippy top, about 3/4 of the way full, and then you top it off with the whole milk. Give it a little stir. Perfection. You can add in a little bit of simple vanilla syrup if you want, or whatever. But
The hardest part is hitting that 3/4 because I can't. If I make it, it's like pour some coffee in, it's not the right color. Now I got to drink some of it so that I can put either more coffee or more milk in it. So about 3 chives, then I'm where I want it to be. But she can do it first try.
well, that's also because I've made this coffee a bazillion times.
Yeah.
So it's just muscle memory. I know. Pour, stop. Milk.
But like to me, it almost has like a chocolatey taste. Like a chocolate milkshakey type taste without any chocolate. And I think it's because coffee has a chocolatey tones a lot of times. But that's what it tastes like to me. And so then you got to think coffee is no calories. You're doing 1/4 of this cup with milk. So that's not even a cup of milk.
Yeah.
So like you're talking about a super low calorie. Even if you put some sugar in it, you're still not putting a ton of sugar in there.
Yeah. Really, you only need like a tablespoon. I mean, that's my personal taste. You need no more than a tablespoon for the whole pot.
So you're talking about like instead of going to Starbucks and getting 1,000-calorie drink for $6, you've spent not even $1.
Yep.
And you've made a coffee that has super low calories and tastes good.
And out of the coffee and coffee in the pot that we normally just do up to the 4 cups line, and then that'll give us 3 iced coffees. Sometimes 4, depending on what cups we use.
Yeah, it's all going to be dependent on what cup you use.
We're using big like Yeti cups basically.
Yeah.
The 32 ounce, is it?
And that's just because we want to use a straw, and
Yeah.
we have Yeti lids with a straw. But yeah, I think it's like 32 ounces.
Yeah.
But you could use whatever. Sometimes we use like a mason jar and just put a straw in
Sometimes
that
I
or whatever.
just use one of the glasses from the kitchen. Like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I'd rather have the biggest cup I have. That
and
way,
not have to get up multiple times and.
yeah. Well, that way you just get to sit down and drink something and enjoy it and then be done with it. But even like I can make a coffee twice the size of a Starbucks coffee, and it's still going to be healthier in this method than it's going to be to buy the small Starbucks coffee.
So.
And I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've been to Starbucks. I don't even know what size I'd want. I love going to Starbucks because I mess the barista up so much. Because they come up to you and they're like, "What'd you like?" I'm like, "I want a black coffee
In the biggest cup you got.
in whatever the biggest." And then they want to tell you it.
Yeah.
Whichever. And I don't know which one it is, but they want to tell you. They're like, "Oh, well, that's a blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Okay, so a large."
It's a venti.
Okay.
I remember that much, but I don't know what the other sizes are anymore. A tall is a tiny one.
Okay. So, but
Oh,
you
and
go-
then a grande. There
you
it all
go.
came back.
Like you got there. But like, and when you say them, it makes sense. But you go in and I'm like, I just want a really big black coffee. And they're like, okay, that'll be a venti. I'm like, is
No.
that the biggest one?
When you go in, you say, I want the biggest black decaf coffee you want.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they go, what?
Yeah.
You don't want caffeine?
Yeah, not my thing. But what's crazy about going to Starbucks too, though, is if you get a black coffee, they normally just have like I don't know what you call them, like the coffee dispenser back there where they pump it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that it pumps from hell because it is so hot, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that they didn't catch on to why McDonald's got sued over the coffee because you can't drink it for so long.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe it's so hot because they know that for more normal people, they're going to put so much junk in it that it's going to cool it off some.
I think that's what the case is, because if you get like a white chocolate mocha, it's a
Yeah.
pretty decent temp.
That's probably what it is. But it is hot. And people make fun of the whole McDonald's thing.
Mhm.
I had a buddy, and he was going back to college while I was working with him. And he had to do a case study on that whole case and like why it worked out the way that it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just like, oh, coffee's hot and it burnt the lady.
Mm-hmm.
What McDonald's was doing is that they were taking coffee, and their purpose was to make it literally as hot as possible. Basically,
So that way it survived the drive.
yes, but it was just under boiling. Like, it was so hot that if it was like a couple degrees hotter, it would actively be boiling. And then they're handing that to you out the window. Because instead of drinking your coffee in the car, they expected you to wait until you got to work. And now your coffee's going to be hot at work. Nice thought, McDonald's. However, when you go to open your coffee cup in the car to put cream or sugar in it, which also is why they don't have you do that anymore.
Yeah.
I bet. But, yeah, it wasn't like, oh, this lady just kind of got hot stuff on her. No, she got third-degree burns from a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee shouldn't be third-degree burn hot when they're
Yeah.
handing it out the window to you.
I mean, I understand, like,
And she was in the passenger seat. It's not like she was driving and trying to fool with it.
yeah. I mean, I understand when you get a hot cup of coffee and someone bumps you or whatever and it touches you and it's like, oh man, that's uncomfortable. You know, that was hot. But third degree burns.
Yeah, she got third-degree burns from a cup
Oy.
of coffee because they were purposely making it so hot.
Yeah.
But man, sometimes that's what that Starbucks coffee feels like. It is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like I'm one of the few people that does go to a coffee shop and is like, I want a black coffee. But I'm not there, like, if I'm at a coffee shop, it's because somebody else wanted to go. And I'm
Me.
like, well, I'm going to get it more, or mom,
Yeah.
or whoever. It's like, well, I'm going to get something.
Mm-hmm. And then that always ends up with finding whatever baked good that they have too and trying some of that.
Yeah, it's sometimes.
Mm.
Not
I'd say like 70% of the time.
depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
You know?
If they have baked goods. The local coffee shop here doesn't.
See, but I'm willing to try anything coffee wise,
Mm-hmm.
from like the best coffee to the worst. Like, I'll buy anything.
Yeah. We just buy the cheapest.
That's why, like, being in Blue Ridge, you'll go to the, what is it, Dust Coffee House.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's German coffee house. It's not really German, but that's the name of it.
Yeah.
And they have really good coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also a place that's like the Fudge Shop
Yeah.
or whatever, and I'll go in there because they've got the candied
Oh, the candied pecans.
pecans,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and the little cone thing. I'll go get some of those, and then they just have a drip coffee maker in there, make a cheap cup of coffee. I'm like, I'll just take one of your cups of coffee because it's cheaper. It's still coffee.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a preference.
I'm going to go get the fun coffee from the fun coffee shop, and he's going to get the simple one.
Yeah.
So it's just how it is.
Mhm.
And we accept that about each other, and that's what makes us better together.
Yes. There you look at tying it all back together. Yeah. And I actually enjoy liking cheap coffee
Mm-hmm.
because I've heard people talk about like expensive coffee and like, artisan coffee, I guess is what you'd call it. It's like, that's cool. But like, I don't want to develop a taste for something super expensive and no longer like the cheap thing.
Yeah.
I would rather be pleased with the cheap thing, never know that the more expensive thing exists, and just be happy where I'm at.
Well, we've had issues with stuff that people have labeled as artisan and specialty and stuff because not all artisan items are good.
No, and even like natural products, like you want to be healthy. Like we strive to eat well, but like I can't eat natural peanut butter. It is so bad. Like,
Well, what about that house-made ketchup?
that was the worst thing ever. It was apple sauce ketchup,
Yes.
basically.
Yes. It was absolutely terrible. And I offended the poor lady by asking if they had regular ketchup.
And that restaurant is still there.
I know. How?
However, 5 years later, like this is in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and I'm not going to name the name of the restaurant. We love
The
Blue Ridge.
food
Georgia.
was good. It's just the ketchup.
Well, that's my point. Is like we love Blue Ridge, Georgia, though, and like I highly recommend it. But you'll never hear me be like, "Yeah, you should go to this restaurant," because it's like a burger place.
Yeah.
It's like a tavern or something, is what I think they would call themselves. And you go in there and you get that, and you get fries, and then she brings you their house. This is our specialty house-made ketchup. It's like, okay, well, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Heinz got it figured out 100 years ago on how to make ketchup. We don't need anything new. Just like we don't need anything new in the Gospels. There's nothing new to preach or teach. There's just new people to reach.
There's no new ketchup.
There's no need for new ketchup. They got it right, and they're doing it. And Heinz 57, they're not even putting a lot of preservatives in it still to this day, because they figured it out back then how to make the ketchup with just tomatoes, salt, and sugar, and it lasts.
Yeah.
Can I get into a ketchup story?
You may.
It feels weird,
Go for
but
it.
I was watching like one of those shows. It's like the Food That Built America, which is like on the History Channel. It's a fascinating show. They have the one about toys. They have the men who built America talking about all these industries, but then they have one about food, and it was talking about ketchup. And the crazy thing about it is that they were doing something else with tomatoes. I can't remember, but they were either making like other kinds of sauce or whatever, and then there would be tomatoes all over the floor.
Yeah. All the discards.
The bad tomatoes. And he's like, we need to do something with these tomatoes so we're not wasting
too much waste.
And he remembered that his mom would make ketchup. And so they started turning it into ketchup. But the ketchup wasn't lasting very long. And they were getting into this whole issue of like preservatives. And at the time, the U.S. government was going to push for no preservatives.
Yeah.
Well, Heinz fought against that and said that we should have preservatives in food. But the crazy part of the story is he was actively, while fighting for the right for companies to put all these bad preservatives in their food, he's trying to figure out a way to not do it in case it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And in doing so, he said, why did my mom's ketchup last so long? And the ketchup that I'm making doesn't last very long. And it's because he was using the bad tomatoes.
Yeah.
And so they started using the best tomatoes to make the ketchup, and now the ketchup lasts longer. And they realized, we don't actually have to use preservatives. So the guy who was a major component in the reason that all of our food is so jacked up today discovered a way to make his ketchup, his product, without preservatives, and still sells it that way today.
Yep.
Even though he fought so that we could have all this bad stuff in our food. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's because, listen, it's absolutely genius, because he knows that people won't want to have the bad, yucky stuff in their food, and they're going to buy his.
I don't think he thought that far ahead, but that's a good point.
I mean...
You're not wrong. Like, really, the bad part of ketchup is this: it's got sugar in it.
Yeah.
And people don't want to eat sugar nowadays, which is...
Everything in moderation is good.
Yes. I wouldn't say that exactly.
But
in moderation, nothing's going to harm you that severely.
Yeah.
In terms of like natural occurring food products. And sugar is a naturally occurring food product.
Yeah.
But if you like high fructose corn syrup is not as naturally.
Exactly.
And that's what's in all of our stuff. And so when we think sugar, a lot of times we're not actually thinking true sugar, because cane sugar is real sugar. But corn syrup is what's replaced sugar in all of our food, and that is worse for you. We could have a whole episode about health food and the issues with food, but because people look at it the wrong way. Our best diet that we've ever had, and we need to really like strive to be back on fully, was when we cut out processed foods and you just bought the best ingredients that you could and made things from scratch.
Yeah.
And in that, we were eating bread, we were eating pies and all kinds of stuff, but it was all naturally occurring food products, and you also weren't living on bread or living on pie.
Yeah. We got to enjoy those, but we weren't only consuming those.
Yeah, you had to have a balanced diet, and apparently the food pyramid's wrong too. That's something else that I'd heard not that long ago, but... like, as long as you balance these things out, you can actually be really healthy just by doing that.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
It's just the desires to eat other food is the real problem.
Yeah. Like, we've fallen into a thing now where, like, we have to have a dessert around.
Yeah, it's not a good habit.
No, it's not. But sadly, I don't see it ending soon because the holidays are coming.
Yeah.
So that means more baking.
I'll tell you though, this is the best diet tip that I can give anybody, because we've done a lot of different stuff. And like, obviously these fad diets exist and they can work. But if you're going to have any diet plan, any process to lose weight based on like what you're eating what you need to do is find things that are in that diet plan that you really like and focus on those. So instead of focusing on what you can't have, you focus on what you can have. So say that you were going to be on keto. Well, keto is a very meat-based diet.
Yeah.
And it's like you're trying to get fats and things. So you can't have, cake and things with carbs. You cut out all carbs. And that can be difficult because our bodies do enjoy carbs. We like carbs. But if you make certain things that you really like and
Like
just focus on those.
Buffalo chicken wings,
Pork loin, a pulled pork, maybe a steak every now and then. But you make things that you're going to enjoy and you focus on what you can have, not what you can't have. It's very difficult to go on a diet plan and be so focused on everything that you can't have.
Yeah.
But if you're going to find success, it's the easiest way to find success in dieting is to focus on what you are able to eat.
Like, oh goodness, I get to have pork loin. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever had a smoked pork loin, but
It's a game changer.
Absolute game changer. Like, it is one of our favorite things to make now. Like, honestly. And like, we've made a brisket and we would always pick the pork loin over the brisket.
Yeah. I learned when you get into the barbecue space, so we have a pellet grill. Let me give that part of the backstory. And it's awesome, and everybody should have a pellet grill because it's almost like it's like having
It's like a second oven.
It's like having an outdoor oven that produces better food.
Yeah.
Because it enhances your food with the smoke. And anybody can do it because it's like if you can turn your oven on and put something in there to bake it, and just all you're worried about is temperature and time, that's all you have to do.
Perfection.
Right? Because it's not even like cakes and pies and things. Like that takes a little bit extra work.
Yeah, and there's science behind all the measuring and things for
But
that
like
stuff.
you want to make a pork loin, all you need to know is that you need to set the grill to 250 and put it on there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on the thickness of your pork loin.
Yeah, because we learned that not all pork loins are the same.
Yeah, I like the small ones.
Yeah, there's small ones, and then there's ones that are like as thick as a baseball
They're like
bat.
pork log versus, pork branch. And the little ones are better because then they get coated fully in the seasoning.
Yeah.
So there's seasoning all around it. So every bite
it's concentrated with that. And while we're on this subject, if anyone does have a pellet grill and they're like, wow, I need to check out a pork loin, let me go ahead and just show you our secret to seasoning it. That will give you the best pork loin ever. Cover it in mustard.
And you're not going to taste the mustard.
No.
The way that mustard
It
works,
holds the seasonings to it.
the way that mustard works in barbecue is that it's a binder, and so you use that, and then you put all the seasonings, and it kind of like glues it. It holds it all to the meat.
Yeah, it's the Mod Podge, ladies. It will hold all your seasonings to the meat.
Yes.
And then you take Lowry's,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Sometimes we use some other seasoned salt.
It depends on what diet we're on at the time because Lowry's does have sugar in it, and so sometimes I'll go off sugar. And so I won't want to use the Lowry's, but the best one is with Lowry's.
Yeah. So cover it in Lowry's, and then you crust it in pepper.
Black pepper, and you can throw some onion on there, some garlic. Like you're not gonna go wrong. But that's the three main things. The three main things: mustard, Lowry's, and a lot of pepper. And you're gonna think like I put too much pepper on here. Now you don't want to use on a pork loin because it's not gonna cook as long. I like to use more of a flake pepper because we've used the restaurant like grated thicker pepper.
The big old thing of pepper that you can buy at Sam's Club.
Yeah, where it's like more cracked pepper instead of like the really small amount of pepper, the thinner pepper.
The fine pepper.
Yeah, the fine. So I would recommend on a pork loin using a fine pepper because what happens is the smoke neutralizes a lot of that pepper and gives it a really good flavor. But when we used the coarser ground pepper, it didn't have as much time to break down.
Yeah.
Now, when we've done a brisket or we've done a pork butt, those are able to cook. They cook for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
So they have time for that pepper to really neutralize. But the pork loin's only going to be on for maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's different. Now, all that was to say, when you get into barbecue, people talk about pork loins, people talk about pork butts, people talk about that. But they make the pinnacle the brisket.
It's not. Sorry.
I've learned that I'm not a brisket person. Now, I already knew I'm not the biggest steak person. Pause for everybody to
gasp and roll over.
To gasp and then pick their jaws up off the ground. But steak isn't my thing.
I love a steak.
It's good, and we can make a better steak than I've ever had at a restaurant using the same grill. But at the same time, like, this is not my thing. You know, if it's other people saying that's fine. But a
Yeah.
brisket, I was also not impressed with. Like, it's good.
Mhm.
Like, we can make a really good
And, like,
brisket.
We have gone to restaurants that, like, they
Renowned.
are acclaimed, like, just known for their amazing brisket. It's okay.
It was good, but it's like, I'd rather have something else. And, like, but in the smoker thing, though, like, you smoke a chicken,
Yeah.
you smoke a turkey, you smoke a pork butt, you smoke the pork loin. I mean, it is
Chicken thighs,
so
chicken
easy.
wings, drumsticks.
We'll smoke just about anything.
Yeah.
You know?
We put baked beans out there one time.
Yeah.
Smoked some beans.
I just opened a can of baked beans. I was like, I already got this heat going. I'll just put them out here. It kind of worked. We had some really good baked beans.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they did that. I've got to look into that. But
I think they put the smoked meat into them and
Yeah.
let it slow cook to where it really got that smoky flavor in there. That's my guess, at least.
yeah.
But Justin's just not a
Not a
a
beef.
beef guy.
I like ground beef on tacos, but that's about
And you like a burger now and then.
yeah.
But
A smoked burger.
Oh.
Yeah, you smoke a burger, it'll change your life. You'll never want to go to another burger restaurant, I'll tell you that much.
And let me just tell y'all my secret in that too. Go to Aldi during the summertime, get their amazing burger seasoning. That's all you put on your meat, and then stick it on the smoker for a while.
That is the saddest part about Aldi is that they do seasonal products.
I know.
And so, like, I'm not, as far as food's concerned, I'll eat soup in July.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big, like, seasonal food person. So when it comes to the other stuff, you know, like seasonings and things, it's like, I wish this was here year round because they have the best barbecue sauces. Almost all of them, except for the Texas, I wasn't a big fan of
Yeah.
personally. But they've got a North Carolina, they have a Kansas City, delicious barbecue sauce. And the same thing with that burger season, but they only have it through the summer months. And so, like, it's probably about to go away, if not already gone right now.
Yeah, I was having a hard time. I was looking for more of the burger seasoning when I was there this last week,
Mhm.
and I didn't see it. But I saw it the week before,
Darn it.
and we're almost out.
I know. We should have stocked up. We messed up.
I know. The summer I feel like it transitioned so fast.
It flew by. Well, I mean, it felt like this summer was the fastest one ever.
Yeah.
We're getting into those ages where now it's just like, there goes the dime.
Yep.
We're going to be 60 before we know it.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, I didn't get to talk about what I was thinking I was going to talk about this episode, but we'll definitely be able to talk about it next episode because it'll have already happened. So
Yeah.
I was just going to build up to it,
Oh, well,
but now we'll be ready whenever the actual.
but now you're already building up to it.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are going to have to stay tuned for the riveting stories that I have for. I'm not even going to tell you anything about it.
What?
I'm going to keep it that secret. You'll hear about what it is on Monday's podcast. Because on that podcast episode, I mentioned what was going to be happening and why I recorded that podcast early. So you'll hear about that one.
I think I know.
Well, I would hope so. But other people don't.
No.
And so, no, but it's, I just wanted to tell stories of our past in it. But now I'll have to tell new stories and then the things that have happened to us regarding this secret subject.
I hope you guys are as suspenseful as I am.
All right, but I think that's going to do it for this episode. We have to enjoy the rest of our free day.
Yes.
This is one of the rare times where we don't have a munchkin running around the house and are able just to do whatever we'd like to because he's with his grandparents. So,
Yeah. So we're going to go relax and enjoy the quiet while we have it.
yeah, because it's not going to last long. He is coming back in some amount of hours.
Yep. So I hope you all have a wonderful day.
I hope you have a great rest of your week.
And God bless.
And God bless.